Welcome to HQ Midday. I'm Tommy Tran with you on this Monday, a Monday in which the Patriots and Broncos are 9-2. We saw the regular season debut for Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland, and Dan Campbell still loves going for it on fourth down. Didn't work out for the Lions on the road, the champs losing 16-9. Battle of NFC West powers went the Rams' way as they intercepted Sam Darnold 4 times at SoFi. And the Bills outlasted the Bucs in a high-scoring game that saw 9 lead changes and Josh Allen with 6 total touchdowns. Just one more game on the Week 11 slate. It's tonight in Sin City. Cowboys and Raiders, Dallas the road favorites as it tries to inch closer back to 500. Time to get ready for that Monday night game with our Monday staples on this midday. Douzable and Ran Carthon. Guys, great to be with you once again. So the Cowboys are coming off a bye. Playoff chances are going to be pretty slim. Just from a coming off a bye perspective, Ran, I'm going to give you first word. They lost to the Cardinals in that Monday night affair. Do wins and losses matter in terms of coming back from byes, maybe entering it, but what about exiting it as you get ready for another NFL game?
Well, that's the beauty of our game is every week you have another opportunity to right your wrong, so to speak. And so I think coming off a bye, you have a team that's rested. You have a team that's chomping at the bit to get another opportunity to go out there and prove that what happened last week, if it was a loss, was a one-off. And so that's what you're going to see now with this Dallas Cowboys team. I'm pretty sure most of the guys were in Vegas last week anyway, so they'll be returning back to Vegas. But I think you're going to get a spirited and inspired team, especially coming off of the moves that they made during the bye week. This is going to be a spirited team that's ready to get out there and show the world who they are.
And an emotional team. Let's not forget, right before the bye, they lost a teammate. So they're going to want to play in his honor. They're going to go out there and put their best foot forward. And before getting into the game, this is a team whose defense has struggled mightily, right? You talked about the defensive additions, adding a guy like Logan Wilson, Quinnen Williams. This should provide some juice. And not only that, Tommy, some of their own players are healthy now, and they're going to be getting them back. So they'll be spirited tonight.
So you guys brought up some of the additions that were made at the trade deadline, Ran. I remember vividly you talking about Jerry Jones just offering that glimmer of hope. But on the field, Lige, and I'll give you first word, what type of version of the defense will we see with these additions tonight?
Yeah, the interesting thing is when you get a guy like Quinnen Williams, the defensive line coach, Aaron White-Cotton, he's familiar with him. That's who he was with the Jets when he was an all-pro player. So attacking style defense is what they want to do with Matt Eberflus and Aaron White-Cotton. And with a guy like Quinnen Williams, he provides that interior pass rush. I've talked to multiple quarterbacks, Tommy and Ran. The one thing they really hate is that interior pass rush up the middle. They have not been able to provide that. Now with Quinnen Williams, you actually have that. So maybe that will help some of the edge guys now who will get one-on-one opportunities. Logan Wilson has been one of the better coverage linebackers the last couple of years. Kind of got phased out in Cincinnati. But you see the numbers right there. They've been abysmal this year, giving up 30 points per game. You would hope that that will provide some spark. And then DeMarvion Overshown. Like, I didn't think this kid would be able to come back. It shows the fortitude and mental capacity he has to fight through adversity and get back. His athleticism will help, his speed will help this Dallas defense as well.
Yeah, and you talk about, and we saw it on the graphic, just how poor this defense has been, historically poor.
Yeah.
This defense has been. But again, when you add a guy like Quinnen Williams to the interior of that defense, and you talked about the quickest way to the quarterback is up the gut, right? It's straight up the middle. And he's going to provide that, and he's going to be a disruptor. And you know, Lige, having played both inside and on the edge, when those guys inside are getting that rush and getting that quarterback off the spot, is going to push things to those edge guys. But then also, you also have Kenny Clark next to him. And so it's only so many hands that you could dedicate to those two guys interior wise, and that's going to open up for these edge guys to get these one-on-one matchups on the edge. And so I think this Dallas defense, as poor as they have been, I think we're going to, as the season ends, as we get close to the end of the season, we're going to look at the pre-trade defense and it'll be the post-trade defense. And I expect this post-trade defense to be much better.
Which would probably be bad news for the Vegas offense, which has had offensive line issues all season long. So if I'm asking you how Geno Smith and Jeanty can potentially exploit this defense, which again, to this point has been poor. Geno himself has been poor turning the ball over here. Just give me a recipe from a Vegas perspective.
Yeah, to that point, I think he's been top 3 at the quarterback position and turning the football over. They got to get Jeanty going. Yes, he has the touchdowns, but he doesn't have the yards per rush, right? And you talked about the offensive line. They lose their best offensive lineman and Colton Miller at the left tackle position. They have not been able to move anybody off the line of scrimmage. Now, before the acquisitions that they just had, Tom, you would say, well, this could be a game we get right because this Dallas defense has been poor, but we'll see what the additions do. You still got to be able to make them respect the run. Sometimes it's not all about the yards per carry, it's the attempts. You have to make them respect it. That opens up the play-action pass game. And we're seeing that Brock Bowers added into this offense has provided a real spark. He's their best offensive weapon. You go back to 2 weeks ago versus Jacksonville Jaguars, he had a really good game. Not so much last week. The Denver Broncos defense had a little bit more to do with that than the Raiders offense, but you have to get Brock Bowers and Jeanty going. Those are your two best offensive weapons. You see how bad they've been on the offensive side. 31st. There's only 32 teams in the NFL when you talk about points per game. But get Jeanty going. That takes pressure off Geno. And then the play action, you can get Brock Bowers one-on-one with some linebackers out in space.
Yeah, we see it here on the graphic. They're 31st in the league, averaging 15.4 points per game. But in their two primetime games this year, they're only averaging 8 points per game. And so they're 0-2 in these primetime situations, only averaging 203 yards as a total offense in these primetime situations. But to your point, you got to find a way to get Jeanty going. You said it. To me, as much as you want to get Jeanty going, Brock Bowers is the X factor to this offense and the lift that he gives this team. He has two 100-yard receiving games. He had, week 9 against Jacksonville, had all three of his receiving touchdowns on the season against those guys. And it's just his versatility. And Chip Kelly's going to have to really get back, I'm going to use your word again, to the inventiveness of his offense, because we thought with a Chip Kelly-led offense that we were going to see some stretching of zones. We thought we were going to see some creativity, and we haven't quite seen that. And so they just got to find ways to get their playmakers the ball.
To that point, I would like to see them come out in a 2 tight end set with Michael Mayer. That way Dallas has to put their linebackers out in space and then attack downfield vertically with Trey Tucker, a guy that seems to be the only receiver that has a rapport with Geno Smith. I think that's how you can open up. You talk about inventiveness. We've seen the Seattle Seahawks do that multiple times, come out in bigger personnel groupings, and that's how you stretch teams vertically, because they want to match up to your personnel. 2 tight ends, oh, you're going to run the football. No, we're going to take shots down the field. I think that's what Chip Kelly needs to do today.
And to your point about the usage of the tight ends, we know the weapons that this Rams offense have, but they come out more than others using 13 personnel, just using the personnel you have to create the mismatches that you need to get points. So this is what they're going to have to dip into the McVay bag and find that for this Chip Kelly-led
offense. Which is what you guys mean, line up with the tight ends, but move them out in space, make them a receiver that changes the look, even though your base personnel, or at least pre-snap personnel, is the same.
And then on the other side of it, Tommy, if you want to come out in base against their 12, you can detach, Brock Bowers, and then if you want to go nickel to try to defend Brock Bowers, now you can turn around and hand off the ball. And that's the creativity that you need to be able to use.
So we looked at all of the offensive numbers. None of it's flattering. You talked about the yards per carry for Jeanty, fewer than 4 yards per rush in 4 straight games and 7 of 9 this season. In terms of just the team itself, Vegas made some changes by going with Geno Smith, bringing in Pete Carroll, who's got the pedigree, the championship. Ran, I'm going to give you first word in terms of what we thought this Vegas team would be and where they are now, 10 entering 11 weeks into the season. It's got to be a disappointment from an organizational perspective.
Yeah, for sure. But that's, yes, I'll say that it's disappointing for what we expected. But I don't think anyone expected them to challenge for the expectations, for the AFC West. Or, at best case scenario, they would be the 6 or 7 seed potentially in the playoffs. But if you go back throughout Pete Carroll's history, it's these type of years where he uses this to build the character of the organization, to set the foundation as they move forward. And I always love to talk about this. In his first year in Seattle with John Schneider, they had over 200 transactions, and they continuously flipped and churned the bottom of that roster until they got the right complement of guys. Haven't had quite as many transactions this year, but they're going to continue to flip the bottom of that roster and the roster as a whole until they get their right set of guys. But I still believe in Pete Carroll, his pedigree, and his overall philosophy in team building.
Yeah, you have to be disappointed how it's turned out so far. Going back to what we talked about, Brock Bowers, him getting hurt after week 1 really derailed this offense, because people forget, one of the 2 losses the Patriots have are against the Vegas Raiders. Week 1.
In New England.
I was in New England. So it's just without Brock Bowers, it kind of deterred how this offense was going to be, the identity of this offense. So I thought they would be a team that would fight tooth and nail. I didn't think they would challenge for the AFC West. I just thought they'd be maybe a 7-10 team that people would hate to play down the stretch, and it hasn't been like that so far.
Yeah, we're seeing it right there on the graphic. Worst start, 9-game stretch to Pete Carroll's career. But to your guys' point, it's looking forward, it's building toward the future, and you got to believe and trust the process here. Back to tonight, though. We got to look short term here. Ran. Who wins tonight's game, Cowboys or Raiders?
I'm going with Dallas. I think Dallas just has too many weapons on this offense. We didn't even hit on Javonte Williams.
Yeah, we did.
And the year he's having, and the year George Pickens is having, he's leading the team in receiving yards. CeeDee Lamb is back. He's moving around well. And then the connection that Dak Prescott and Jake Ferguson have. Jake Ferguson leads the team in receptions, also tied with the team lead with 6 touchdowns. But I'm going with them. They have this strong offense, and I have high hopes for this post-trade defense. Yeah. We'll start calling it that, the post-trade defense, and I think we're going to see a much better team. I think Dallas is the better team tonight.
You see the graphic right there, man.
Oh, it's
5 in
the right direction.
5 in a row. I look at it like this. I know we've been talking about the Dallas defense and all these transactions. I want to look at the Cowboys offense this week, because what people haven't been talking about, when you look at the starting offense, the last 2 weeks, they've only been averaging about 17 points per game. You go to that Cardinals game, and that isn't a world beater on defense. The 49ers just put up a 40-burger on them. And then the Broncos, obviously, that's a really good defense. The starting offense only scored 7 points in the second half versus the Denver Broncos. So I want that offense to get back on track. You talked about getting Javonte Williams going, right? This Raiders defense has really struggled this year. Let's get back in a rhythm early in this game, because I actually think the way the schedule pans out, the Cowboys could make a run the second half, but it all starts tonight. They have to take care of this game. Give me the 3.5. I think this game won't even be close. I like the Cowboys to cover those points.
Okay, so you're not afraid of the hook. I did make 2 bets for this game. One was Cowboys laying the 3.
Okay.
But I'm adding Cowboys team total 26.5. I think they'll get to 27 points or more tonight. They had those red zone issues against the Cardinals. I think they remedy that tonight. And given everything with Vegas, I don't know if they keep it close. It's like a 5% chance Geno has a crazy game, but I'm just banking on Dallas and Dak getting theirs. Yeah. So I think we're all on the same page with Dallas tonight on Monday Night Football. Guys, certainly appreciate it. Had a good time with the fellas on Game Day Recap last night. Haley Sutton will be back Sunday with Ran, Pete Prisco, and Damian Harris, 8:20 Eastern, although I do believe there might be a special guest next Sunday.